For our last episode on podcasting, we're going to be using Mixcraft 5. Now, Mixcraft 5 is only available on the PC side, and I'm recording this on a Mac. I'm using my MacBook Pro, and I'm running Parallels with Windows XP in order to demonstrate this. So I'm going to open up Mixcraft 5. And here we go. Now we have a new project menu that comes up here. Record yourself or your band, build loop and beat matched music, or build virtual instrument tracks. If you have a previous project or a template that you created, you can also load that here as well. For right now, we're just going to hit close and get rid of that window. When Mixcraft opens, it starts with 8 tracks of audio, as you can see over here. Now we don't need 8 audio tracks over there, so I'm going to get rid of some of them. In order to delete a track, you would right-click on the track. If you're using a Mac that's running on the PC side, you have to use Shift-Control in order to bring up the contextual menu as a right-click. So I'm going to delete several of these tracks that we don't need. Okay, so we'll get down to 1 audio track here. Okay, now, before we go any farther, again, if you are running this on a Mac, running it on a PC then through the Mac, either through Parallels or VMware or some sort of emulator, what you have to do is set up your audio so it knows where to record. So I'm going to flip this back over to a windowed screen so I can go up to Devices and pull down Sound, Input, and make sure that my built-in microphone is selected. Because I am recording this using Camtasia on my Mac, I am recording this through a Zoom H2 recorder, so I have to set up a different microphone in order to be used on the PC side. So I'll use the built-in microphone. Once that's set up, I can go back into my full screen and click OK. Okay, so now I have my audio track all set. Before we use the audio track, we're going to work with some sound tracks first. I'll click on Track, and I'm going to add a virtual instrument. Now, just like in GarageBand, I'll get my virtual instrument track. I'm going to click on the keyboard, and I can change the sound that I want. In this case, I'm going to select one of these piano sounds. And also, as in GarageBand, I can use a musical keyboard. In this case, I do not have my MIDI keyboard set up or connected to this computer at this time. But maybe I'm on the road and I don't have that equipment with me, but I got this idea for melody I just want to jot down and record, so when I have time I can work on it. So here's my musical keyboard. And it works the same just as in GarageBand, but it does have some extra features on it that GarageBand doesn't. For example, we have sustain, pitch bend, modulation, so there's a couple other things that it has to work for itself as well. I'm going to click on record right now. Now, before I can click on record, though, I have to tell it what track to record, and you need to arm that track. Notice it changes red. So now I'm ready to record my bright piano. I'm going to click on record and then start playing. Okay, I'm going to stop that. And as you can see when the window pops up, I have my graphical editor down here. If I want to move any of these notes, I made a mistake, I want to fix. Very easy to move. If I want to shrink the duration or lengthen the duration. Also, I have a pencil. If I want, I can add a note right there. If I want to delete it, click it and delete. Maybe I want to add it right here. Click my note, make it longer or shorter. Alright, or just simply delete it. So right now I have a software synth piano sound put in here. So I'm going to unarm that. I'm going to record my audio track. So I'm going to click arm. Now if you notice, the track changed red, and as you can see in the levels here, my green bar is highlighting. As I'm talking, my levels are going up, so it is bringing in my audio. Now I do not want it to bring in the audio from the piano track, so I'm going to mute that track. Now I'm going to record my audio. Now, the audio came up over here because I forgot to rewind it. So we're going to rewind it. Now we're going to record it. And now my audio is recording at the very beginning. As you can see, it has a little sound wave showing up right in the track window. And this is recording right over, right next to my piano track. So I'm going to stop this. And there's my audio. Okay. Now you have some other things you can do with it too. For example, if you wanted to adjust the pitch a little bit, you can move it up and down. Noise reduction, depending on what type of equipment you're working with. All right, so there's a couple other things that I'm not going to delve into right now because I'm working basically just on a basic podcast. And right there would be essentially our podcast. We have our audio track, so you can put your data out to your people, however you want to put your content together, as well as you have your audio track or your piano track down here, which you could use multiple instruments to set up your background tracks, either background music or intros and outros. Okay, if from here, if we were done with this, simply having our audio tracks put together, we could go up to File, make sure you save, and in this case I'm going to save this as Podcast 3. And I'm going to throw it on my desktop just so I know where to find it, and then I'll move it somewhere else later. Okay, and then I would mix down to an MP3, and I'll save that on the desktop as well. I can call that Podcast 3. We don't need the MX5 extension because it's going to be an MP3 extension. And so we'll click Save. And it will take a couple minutes there, or a couple seconds in this case since it's so small. And then it will start playing. So let's stop that for a minute and close that. Now, maybe we want to have a picture track or a video track like we did previously using GarageBand. We could go up here to Track. And what type of track are you going to add to it? Are you going to add a video track? Okay. And we have our video preview window, which there's nothing to preview currently, so we're going to close that. Okay, and then you can drag and drop pictures into here, or you could bring in external video file. Now the external video files need to be either Windows Media files or AVI files. So I have a video that I already set up. I'm going to add a video file. Right here. Here's an AVI file that I brought in. This is a clip I downloaded from YouTube a while ago. This is the comedian Gallagher. Now, if you notice, it put it in right where the play mark was left. So we have to remember to rewind the play marker. Otherwise, you'll get your video dropped in wherever it happens to be. And there's our track. We can see our little timeline here. We have Gallagher audio that got brought in with the AVI. And let's just play this for a second here.
You're smart people, and that's the kind of show we're doing tonight. We're doing a smart show. It's called Over Your Head, and I'm heading to go over your head sometime tonight. I'm going to go over your head. Stay.
Okay. And there you go. Now, I don't want to continue playing any more of that because of copyright legalities and everything. We don't want to be rebroadcasting something that we shouldn't. If you want to show the video window, there's your preview. Hide it. It goes away. And then from here, we can go, don't forget to save your project. Or you can go to Mix Down. And in this case, do you want to mix it back down to an AVI or do you want to mix it to a Windows Media? I would say mix it to an AVI first, because if you want it to go into a podcast, it has to be converted into a QuickTime file, into an MPEG file. And so AVIs would be a little bit easier to convert because QuickTime will open AVIs. If you have QuickTime Pro, which only costs $35 or $30, you can bring it in as an AVI and then export it back as an MPEG file that you can use for your podcast. To my knowledge, I do not know anybody that is using either AVIs or Windows Media videos for podcast. It needs to be in a QuickTime format. And there you go. Once it is filed and it is saved and exported to an AVI and then converted into a MPEG file, simply save it, and then you'd have to, just like I demonstrated in Podcast 1, you would have to write your XML file or use one of the free podcast applications to create your XML file for you, upload it to your server, and you are ready to broadcast. And there you go. So I hope this has been informative, and thank you for watching.